No, you're good. I shut my office door, so I got some privacy.
Okay, good. Um, okay, all right. We are live on LinkedIn. This is some good stuff. This is our first going live on live stream with smart SMART community. So, hello all. Thank you for joining. And this is our first introduction to the SMART community, right? Smart AI community. Idea is to advocate for the workforce, advocate for the people, the user, the developers, the people that will be impacted by artificial intelligence, uh, either be it because it's being implemented or what's coming down the pipeline of implementation and development of further AI, as in AGIs, supercomputers, and super AIs that are sort of in a lot of people's mind at this point because of their concerns with how these AI will impact the workforce, right? So, who to ask better about the workforce safety the people that already work with the workforce safety, right? People that worry about psychological safety of people, work condition of people, and this group is my dream come true, right? Work with the subject matter experts. I have my own subject matter expertise, but I have reached out to these individuals to say, hey, what do I know? And if I share that with you, if I share that often with you, would you tell me what it is that I don't know? And that has worked out very beautifully. So the reason this community is called SMART, Smart AI Community, is because not only are they specialists and they have their methods, but they are also advocating, right? Brain meets the heart, right? Because these individuals are part of their community where they specializes on what they uh, work with, the methods that they understand, but they advocate with heart to work with the people that might either be impacted negatively or even positively, right? People that are negatively impacted, how do they advocate for themselves, enable them with this information? How do the people that are positively impacted, how do they make sure that more people gets positively impacted, right? So we've been sharing lots of knowledge back and forth for I think since April 1st. I think the first time we met was on April 4th. Prior to that we knew very little about each other, but over the months and weeks, meeting twice a week, I would say it was dedicated twice a week because I've missed a few of them, but you guys kept it going because you guys have a lot of interest in this topic. So do I. But that's the kind of commitment that you guys have presented so far. So since then, we've been really talking, infrastructure level of machine learning, all the way to the high level, satellite view conversations about machine learning. Right? We're looking at the broad perspective that is very narrow. Right? We went ups and downs on a lot of this conversation. So, and I've learned tremendously. And when I say what the audience will get out of this conversation, I really want to bring it up to the surface to the public so that people hears what we're discussing and the perspectives that we bring from multiple angles. And as we go through the panel here, you will see why each of these individuals are different and why we are engaging with individuals from different domain subject matter expertise. Um, and don't quote me on it. Quote some of the big AI players out in the market right now. They're all understanding that subject matter expertise is the only thing that's lacking in this AI industry. AI is widely available. AI is widely easy for people to access. But how the subject matter expert, the domain knowledge, subject matter expertise are coming together to bring this AI to a level where it needs to be for everybody to be positively impacted, or at least majority of the people to be positively impacted. Subject matter experts need to be here, right? So I think without further ado, I'm going to make some introduction, right? And I'm going to start with Nora. Nora, I definitely want to make individual introductions for each of these people because they will be super humble about who they are and what they do. But I want to add a little bit more flavor to that, right? And I will do that. But please, Nora, make your introduction as you see fit, and I would like to add more to that after you finish.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Asif, and thank you everybody for being here. As you know, my name is Noura, and a little bit about me, about my background. I was born and raised in Florida. I earned my psychology degree my psychology degree at the University of Central Florida. I'm now residing in the UAE since 2016. So after I graduated, I kind of went into like an experimental stage with my life, trying different fields such as behavioral therapy, marketing, a bit of design. Yet I found myself always going back to psychology. So that's where I decided I want to pursue my master's in industrial and organizational psychology, which I have now completed. So what hooked me about IO psychology is the variety of diverse, areas you can go to, such as HR, data analysis, leadership, consulting, and I really like understanding the human behavior in anything. And this is where I found myself understanding the human behavior within organizations. It basically offered a perfect blend of my interests. I recently completed and published a short ebook about a beginner's guide to IO psychology, where I cover topics, about IO psychology and different fields that you can go to. It's, for an audience that is in their career path, finding their way. So it's kind of a guidance for others to know what is IO psychology and, to see what is the decision that they can make in their career path for their future. I was also a participant in the PSYOP machine learning competition, which revolved around using LLMs, large language modeling, to effectively complete a set of diverse tasks, such as analyzing employee feedback, such as whether empathy was demonstrated in employee responses. I would say my interests are within data analysis, leadership, consulting, that realm. So now I continue my journey with XGen AI, where I'm diving into machine learning and exploring how AI can be leveraged to empower organizations with all of these wonderful people. So that's a bit of my journey so far, and I'm excited to be here. And thank you for whoever's tuning in. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nora, you captured it very well because when I meant that subject matter expertise are not necessarily in the table to discuss AI from the perspective of data, Nora, you're a perfect example of that, right? Subject matter expertise that understands data and have a lot of curiosity on how to tie subject matter expertise to the data is what we really need to work with. And this is why this AI era is a little different than previous era of technology. This is the era where subject matter expertise really have to rely on AI, and they really need to understand how to get to the data for that AI. So thank you, Noah. Well put. Next, I have Desi. Please make an introduction. I know you're in an office environment, so if you have to take a break, no worries.
No, we're good. We're good. Thank you for our introduction, and thank you, Nora. That was very lovely, and thank you for the team for having me today, and thank you to everyone that's viewing from home or wherever you are. My name is Desi Montgomery. I am a vet. I enlisted into the Army in February of 2013. I was deployed twice. I boarded out of the military in 2018. Once I got out the military, I went to school, got my bachelor's in psychology. During my studies in undergrad, I came across a few articles on active duty members and suicide, which led me down to a path of assessing recruits and active military members, the process of going in, the change of personality, of the change of behavior to becoming a service member from a civilian, and the impact that leads onto into your mental health, which led me onto assessments, which led me to IO psychology, which then led me to get my master's, and now working on my PhD level in IO psychology. Um, what led me to this framework was meeting with Mr. Asif and talking about digital twins and applications that can lead to. I'm sure we will go over that during this session, and I would love to talk about that because I can talk about that all day. My main focus is using AI to assess our service members to better promote our leaders and have our leaders in the right position to improve our military units. Because through my service, I learned that not every leader was a good leader, and I was always curious to what was the process to becoming a leader within a unit, and it's always based off your physical assessment. Very rarely is off your cognitive abilities, and so I kind of want to dive into that to see if that can change where it's more focused not necessarily on your physical attributes, but more of your mental abilities, your also your ability to learn and adapt to new situations. So that is me. I currently work for the accountability courts here in Columbus, Georgia, Muskogee County. I work with veterans who are have an addiction problem, and the program is 18 months long. They complete the program. If they have any charges within the county, they are dismissed, and so they will have no charges on their record, and they are free to do whatever they like without any hindrance. So that's my way of giving back while I'm studying for my future education. And that is me. And I'd like to thank everyone once again for listening and being here today. I'm going to pass it on to Miss Helen.
Hi, everyone. I am Helen Ann Gable, and thank you all so much for coming to join us today as we talk about the world of artificial intelligence. And a little bit about me and my background is that I started out in California, and then I went to Japan, from there to Virginia to Washington, D.C., and most recently I've been in Dallas for the past 8 years now. And my educational background really focused on philosophy as well as some psychology, which then further led me into my professional background within politics, education with an emphasis in Montessori practices, private foundations, nonprofits, and as well as advocating for individuals with disabilities, as well as shining a light on food equity. And what really got me involved in our cohort in the world of artificial intelligence is my area of interest of working with individuals who are neurodivergent. I myself am neurodivergent, and I'm really interested in how AI can be used as a tool for neurodivergent individuals to use their neurodiverse superpowers to excel in an ever-growing neurotypical world, whether that's in education, the workforce, or in personal lives. I also have a very strong interest in sustainability and how we can incorporate artificial intelligence into our workforce while also being mindful of our environment and the ways in which AI could potentially help us in keeping our environment safe as we grow and as AI continues to become a very large part of all of our lives. And thank you all so much for joining us today. And I will hand this over to our wonderful Phoenix.
Thank you, Helen Ann, and thank you everyone here and everyone that has joined us. I'm very grateful for all of you. And gosh, how do I follow up with all of that? You guys are so amazing. So my name is Phoenix Newman. I'm currently a graduate student at the University of Southern California studying applied psychology with a concentration in organizational psychology. And I'm focusing on data analytics and a little bit of consumer psychology, which is always very helpful, especially within change management. Prior to that, I was working for Activision Blizzard. That was such a fun job. That's really where I grew my passion and really excelled with my education journey. And I'm also a military veteran. I was in the Army doing human resources, which is the catalyst for what got me into the organizational psychology world. I realized this is such a great industry and you can have such a huge impact on people, which is my passion, is the people. I always try to think of everything from the people perspective. How can I make things better for the people within the organization or the people that I'm supporting? And what brought me here to this amazing cohort is really being at the forefront of AI. It's this big thing. It's in everyone's face right now. And, I've been dabbling with it, and I want to help people think of it as a tool. I know it's really scary. So frameworking it like AI is a tool, and that can assist people and help them with their everyday tasks, whether it's, in education or in school. And enforcing this thought of human in the loop. Everyone thinks of AI, oh, it's going to take my job. It's scary. We're relying on it. But if we try to framework it like we always have this human in the loop, hopefully that can make it a little bit easier. So that's a big part of the advocacy, which I really try to do, is advocate and educate for the safe use of AI. So it's really exciting. We're working on some really great things. I'm learning a lot. I'm sharing my knowledge, which is what it's all about. And yeah, that's a bit about me. I'll pass it over to Cameron.
Such great introductions. Oh my gosh. Everyone is so wonderful in this community. So good morning. I'm Cammie Moore, and I'm a graduate student at Oregon State. I'm not sure if you can hear. We have 3 dogs in the background, so apologies if they're going. But I am currently studying data analytics for my master's, and I'm really excited to get my career started in data. My undergraduate degrees are in mathematics and business innovation, so I've always been really passionate about integrating math and data into businesses, and I think that's really important. After starting at Accenture and taking a lot of machine learning courses for my master's, I've developed a strong passion for artificial intelligence and machine learning specifically. And now understanding and kind of learning how these AI algorithms operate, I can see that it's really important to how it's used ethically and responsibly. And that starts with just having conversations and getting educated on AI, which is why these conversations are so important, and opening up the conversation, kind of destigmatizing artificial intelligence, like Phoenix was saying, is so important. So if you're here today, thank you for being here, and welcome to the Smart AI community. We're happy to have you here.
Yeah, I think you saw the theme, the thread here, right? The thread is brain meets the heart, right? And everybody here is advocating for the people. And there is no doubt about it. No matter what you think of technology, it's not technology, it's the process behind the technology. And what keeps the process going is the people behind that process, right? So if you have the right sort of people and you develop a right process, you deliver whatever it is, be it technology, solution, advisory, or just a governmental service. Anything you can look in life, it's all about people in the process. And we are developing the people right now as we speak. And we would really like everybody here to be part of that process. As in, if you're part of the process, you have the know-how, you have the way to articulate what it is that you need. Because if you have a need and that is not well understood by somebody who doesn't understand that need is overlooked, and that needs should not be overlooked, because in order for these deliverables to be successful with AI or non-AI or just something that is very code-based, you really have to understand why it is that you need AI and why it is that you don't need an AI. So you really have to speak for yourself, for your industry, for domain knowledge, for any part of the world that you're in, right? So when we had the mission for this meetup and this community, is that it's about you. We are just speaking so that way you can enable yourself to speak for yourself. One of the main pain points that I've had is to have people speak about AI comfortably, not necessarily knowledgeably, just comfortably. So what we would like to do, and you will see more people behind the scene here that's not available on the screen right now. They are all advocating for comfortably speaking, comfortably having dialogues about AI and machine learning. Like I said, brain meets the heart. Everybody here has their own subject matter expertise. Desi, he's looking to develop digital twin capability. How often can you talk about digital twin capability without getting lost? How wide and full of use cases that digital twin has, right? The very latest about digital twin is that they're developing a digital twin of the planet, right? So how do you not get lost in that conversation? How do you feel comfortable communicating that? And Desi's going through that process himself. I speak to Desi about it, and Desi speaks to me. And every time we speak, I enable myself to speak on digital twin capability, even though I've been working on digital twin space for a while, right? And then I have much exposure. But because of these conversations, we learn from each other. When Helen N talks about her passion for how she wants to create a workspace where people understands each other's approach, that's team dynamic. You get that team dynamic differently when AI is involved. Right, we've seen that with COVID, with virtual world that we live in today. Team dynamic has shifted. Team dynamics have changed to a point that we really understand the work, but we don't understand each other. And understanding each other means that we get a different sort of work done, and then that work has a different key matrix that you can say this work is far superior than any other work that we have seen before. Right. I want to talk a little bit more about Phoenix here because. Phoenix is going to lead the charge here. Army veteran, have worked with Activision Blizzard before, and she has that heart to say, how do I lead the charge here? How do I lead the conversation here? So she's definitely is the lead for this community. And as she takes the lead, she has her mandate that she set for herself, right? Which is that we will have more people engaged, more people learn about artificial intelligence, not necessarily to do anything about it. It's just that they'll get comfortable with it, right? If you approach it with fear, you create a distance. Whereas if you approach it with curiosity, you just get closer to it, right? And getting closer to it does not burn anybody. It just makes that whole engagement where you speak up for your need. People that are creating a distance, we don't necessarily know what they need. But people that have curiosity, they will be able to speak up. So, and Cami Moore, as you can tell, this is a very diverse group of people. And Cameron has that data aspect that she brings to the table that is not necessarily just to say, I'm only developing digital twin, I'm only developing this piece. She speaks for data for everybody. And that's the beauty of having multiple domain knowledge expert or subject matter experts come together and engage on these discussions, right? Like I said, there's multiple individuals involved in this process, and you will see more and more of us as we plan to have this kind of conversation on every Monday, where we're hoping that you will join in and you will invite your guest and you'll invite your friends and family to come and listen to this conversation, right? We're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, and we would like to be on other social media platforms eventually. But the point is that you get comfortable, you understand the people behind the process, and you understand what's being delivered. And what's being delivered, how do you speak up and speak up comfortably and communicate your needs, right? So I think we have our charter set for going forward into the Mondays to come. But I really want to make a brief overview of type of discussions that we're going to have every week, right? So every week we'll put out a post saying, hey, coming Monday, we're working towards presenting this idea to people, and I think we have a list that we will schedule and let people know that, hey, if you're interested in understanding how, as a team, you could be proactive on your AI knowledge ahead of time, and what are sort of some of the things that you have to consider, because we have our subject matter expertise in how we do the process, but we would like to bring our subject matter expertise into that process, as in contribute our thoughts into that process, so that way you can consider them, qualify them, and say, yep, this is actually a good suggestion. Let's work on that, right? So we have a team member who's working on proactively engaging the leaders and the employees and the other team members to say, what does it look like to be proactive in AI space, right? How's it going to impact you? Are you assessing? Are you auditing? How are you going to do that? And then, of course, we're going to have Desi at one point talk about digital twin capabilities, right? The good, bad, the weakness, the threats, right? The SWOT analysis of digital twin capabilities. And, of course, Helen Ann mentioned that, she would like to present about the workspace, to understand each other from a different lens of perspective and see why each personnel is different and how does that impact the team dynamic, right? So we're all working on our own pieces, and we would like to bring that topics to you. And I think Phoenix helped me out with some of the other topics that we'll discuss. But yeah, we're going to continuously create new themes, so that way more people can learn and benefit from this AI discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to chime in and just really emphasize that this community is for you. It's for everyone, for every industry, for every level. Like, it's really a community to come here and have impactful discussions. And the approach isn't, oh, let's make it so that people are not afraid of AI. I get it. No matter what, with change at all, people are afraid of change. It's scary, but we live in this world where AI is never going to go away. And so we're hoping that we can empower people to change their perspective, to be curious about AI, and just really advocate for people's voices. We want to hear your concerns. That's a big part of change management, is really listening from start to finish, everyone's concerns, their thoughts, what they like about it. What are the good things? What are the bad things? Everything of the spectrum of feelings regarding change, and being able to address those, concerns and those triumphs when it comes to AI. So, we're here to empower people. We're here to empower curiosity, and we're just really hoping to build a great community and eventually, have some great input from the audience and get you all involved as well.
And if any of the audience that's listening in and have a question right now, they want to put it in the chat. I'm monitoring the chat as we speak. Feel free to do so. This is being live streamed on YouTube. We will rebroadcast this for other people to see other time zone, maybe preferably after work or before they go to bed. So that way, we want to really have you ask us questions, because one of the things that we are seeing from the subject matter expert is that the questions are being asked, right? But we can have more questions, actually. More in-depth understanding of your questions means what's being delivered is well thought out. It's well considered from all different perspectives. And if we don't have these perspectives, we definitely have a lack in the service that, it needs to be met, but we want to be proactive about it. So change management is the key word that Phoenix mentioned. And look, I think more we focus on change management, more we have to understand what has happened in the past and how far we look into the future and say, how does the past repeat itself, right? Let's not repeat the past without learning from the past. We've seen technological implementation prior to this where we've had digital immigration, digital refugees, and digital natives. They all have their own set of problems, right? So if you're listening to the conversation, you find yourself to be a part of the digital native, you might not realize how hard it is to be a digital immigrant. And that's okay. But you really have to present the digital native side of story so that the digital immigrants can say, your question really raised a question for me to ask it this way. And once they do, we really see multiple perspectives. And digital refugees are, of course, once that is being impacted negatively, and we really want to prevent further creating refugees by digital implementation in the world globally, right? You can think of it from a 50 different state perspective, but really it's global societal problem, which is this thing called AI. We really want to address it. So we're coming up to the 30 minutes time frame, and I do not see any questions. But again, you don't have to ask the questions today. But as you move forward, as you're thinking about, joining us on every Monday, we have our meetings that we would like you to invite to. If you're not comfortable in an open space like this to ask us questions, we meet Mondays and Thursdays. And as we meet, we discuss multiple topics from multiple angles, and we always have our subject matter experts that join us and give us a new perspective. So we would love to have you join us on this call. So I see everybody here have their subject matter expertise, and they're thinking about what they want to do. Really do bring up what it is that you would like to bring up to the surface as well. Like, I have some of my core concerns that I would like to really present through this community, which is, say, for example, we talk about medical industry having AI solutions, and we talk about how medical industry will change, but what about the patients, right? What happens when there's an AI and the patient's advocacy has to change? How does that impact the patient? What happens to the patients? Do they benefit positively or negatively, right? So start thinking about the auxiliary thought process here, right? Because when we talk about like a medical industry, we think about the doctors and the medical business operation, right? We don't necessarily think about who's being impacted through that process, because what sounds good to a doctor doesn't necessarily sound really good to all the patients. And I said the same thing about the construction industry, right? Any industry you look at, you have to think about who's benefiting from that AI. Because if you develop a building for people to live in, well, the construction industry has an AI, but what about the people that lives inside the building? You can talk about it from the car perspective. What about the driver? What about the pedestrians? What about industry like retails, where everything in the retail chain works very well, and here we are understanding that customers are not benefiting from AI. It's the retail operation that benefits from AI. So we really have to start thinking about the people perspective, and it's a wider global population that we have to think about. So I'm going to, pass it on to Phoenix one more time for her last thought here. If you guys have any last thought, let us know. But this is the ongoing conversation, and I'm super, super glad that we got started.
Yes, thank you. Well, Asif said it all very well. We're really excited to be here and be sharing our knowledge and hearing from all of you. I just want to remind everyone that this is a community for everyone. Even if you don't know, if you don't think that you know anything about AI, or you don't think that you use AI, this is a space for you. I'm really eager to touch, every industry and all different walks of life, and whether you're beginning your career or you're 20 years into your career, this is a space because we want to hear from people, because the people are being impacted by the AI, and we want to really be able to develop a framework when it comes to change with AI, because it's different. The AI change management framework is going to be a lot different than what we see in traditional change management frameworks. So we're really working on building that out, and hearing from everyone in this community will be able to assist us in doing that. So thank you, everyone. And if there's anyone else on the call that wants to have any final thoughts, go right ahead.
Like what you said, Phoenix, it's also very new, to get frameworks done is by getting input from other people. That's how it's going to get done. It's all very new topics. No one really knows what they're doing. It's kind of an experimental stage at the point.
Absolutely.
I really enjoy how everybody was talking a lot about the people, and that while we think about AI, we think about machines. We don't necessarily always think about the individuals, but these machines and these AIs, they're being built for the people, to help people. And so to always be able to bring it back to how is this going to affect an individual or a person is something that is near and dear to my heart. So thank you all for really emphasizing that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for everybody who's listening in. Like I said, we'll rebroadcast it, and we're looking forward to having more of your questions being asked in real time. Don't feel, you have to just uh, listen to it silently and not participate. This is not a TED Talk. This is a direct engagement for people to ask their questions. Bring your friends, bring your family, bring your questions with you, and then ask it here and see how we may bring the different perspective that you weren't really focused on at that point, right? So thank you everybody for being here. Thank you all for in the panel, and thank you for everybody who's listening on LinkedIn. We'll talk to you guys soon. Ciao.